So in this video, we are going to learn about order of operations with exponents. So order of operations with exponents is basically the same thing as order of operations. But I am going to focus specifically on the exponents because that's the unit we're talking about. So in order to start, we need to know BEDMAS. And I know we've gone over BEDMAS several times and you've been doing BEDMAS for a long time, but I'm going to go over it really quickly. So BEDMAS, what does the B stand for in BEDMAS? B stands for, and if you all remember, B stands for brackets. So whenever you see a bracket, that's what you start with. So this is the order in which we work on operation. We always start with brackets. The next thing we focus on after brackets is our exponents. And from the last video, remember I showed you exponents like this. So where X represents your base number, so this is your base number, and that is your power right there. So it is the x to the power of. So when we're talking about exponents, we're talking to a number to the power of. After exponents comes division, and after division is multiplication. But don't get confused here. In terms of division and multiplication, it's whichever one comes first from the order of left to right. So it doesn't matter if you divide first or you multiply first, as long as you do the one coming from left to right. Okay? So whichever one comes first, order from left to right. And the same rule applies to the next two, which is addition and subtraction. So again, with addition and subtraction, it's the same thing of order from left to right. So whichever appears first from left to right. So in order to do an operation, you always have to follow BEDMAS. So brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, whichever one comes first, order from left to right. Addition and subtraction, again, whichever one comes first, order from left to right. So let's go to our first question. We're going to solve our first question. Here it is. It is 7 to the power of 2 divided by brackets 9 minus 2. So if you think back to BEDMAS, and again, I'm going to write it quickly at the top so I can remember what it is. BEDMAS. And if you want, you can even draw in the little parts to it. That way you remember what each one is. You don't make a mistake. And again, that way you have a visual as to what they look like. So if I'm looking at this, I'm going to go ahead and solve. The first thing I need to solve would be then, according to BEDMAS, would be my brackets. So I go ahead and I'm going to leave the rest of the equation the way it is, 7 to the power of 2 divided by, and if I solve my first part, 9 minus 2 is 7. So I put that number in there. Okay, at this point, do I need to draw those brackets? So do I need to actually draw these in anymore? No, I don't. I can actually get rid of them. There is no need of those brackets. I drew them in just so that you can see, and oh, it's not letting me erase them. Okay, so this is not letting me erase them at all. But if I was to rewrite it, it would be 7 to the power 2 divided by 7. So now I'm going to go ahead and do my next part. So 7 to the power of 2, what does that mean? And in here I'm going to break it down a little so you can see it. It means 7 times 7. Okay, you don't have to actually write that in. That's for me visually so that I can show you what I'm doing. So I'm doing 7 times 7 because it's 7 to the power of 2, 7 multiplied by itself 2 times, which equals 49. And then again, I write the rest of it in 49 divided by 7. So when I go ahead and I divide 49 by 7, so 7 into 49 times, I get 7. So my answer to this question is 7. So when I solve it, that's what I end up with. Okay. Now let's do another one. I'm going to give you an equation. And so again, solve. And this time it's 3 to the power of 4 plus, let's say, 10 minus 2 over 4 times 2. So what I want you to do right now is I actually want you to pause the video. I want you to try the question and then come back and see if you got it right. So go ahead and pause. And welcome back. So now that you're back, let's actually try this question out. So again, I know BEDMAS. So again, just for my own reference, I'm going to quickly write this up here. BEDMAS. And this time I'm not going to draw it in. I just have the words up there. So I'm going to look at this. Brackets. Are there any brackets? Nope, no brackets. The next part is exponents. So I'm going to go ahead and find my exponents. I look up here and I found my exponent. 3 to the power of 4. And again, what does that mean? So I'm going to break it down for myself just so that I can see. You don't have to write this in. It means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 multiplied by itself 4 times. So I'm going to start my work now. So 3 multiplied by itself 4 times is 81. I wrote that in, and then the rest of the equation I am writing in just the way it is because I haven't changed a single thing in that equation. I'm going on to my next part. So my 81 stays the same. BEDMAS tells me, according to BEDMAS, it says I do division or multiplication, whatever comes first. This is a little weird. I have a division sign right here because this means this divided by that, but I also have multiplication sign. So what I'm going to do is, because I have 2 separate parts of an equation, one on top of the other, I'm actually going to solve these first before I do the division. This is where BEDMAS gets a little tricky. You need to use logic when you figure it out. You can't just go ahead and divide these two because they are 2 separate equations. So I go ahead, I'm going to multiply this, and I'm going to see what I get. So I'm going to continue here. I'm going to leave the top part the way it is because I didn't touch it. 4 times 2 is 8, so I'm going to go ahead and fill that in. And then I'm going to keep going. 81 plus. Now I'm going to go ahead and say, what does 10 minus 2 equal? 10 minus 2 equals 8 over 8. And I'm just going to continue my equation up here. So now I have 81 plus 8 over 8. And that's what we've written down there. I go ahead, and when I divide 8 by 8, I end up with 1. So now I have 81 plus 1, and my final answer is 82. Okay, so again, go through it, make sure you review it, make sure you understand it, and make sure you have the right answer. So the last question, and this is the question I'm going to kind of leave you with. I'm going to ask you to solve this on your own, and then come to class with your solution so you have an idea of how to do this. So I have 39 subtract 4 plus 6 divided by 3 exponent 2. I am going to, although, talk you through it before I go ahead and leave you to it. I am not going to give you the answer, though. So, again, I write my BEDMAS as a reminder to myself. And I'm going to start here. So I know there are brackets. The first thing you're going to solve is what is in the brackets. That means everything. Even though within the brackets I have an addition and I have a division, I am going to go ahead and solve what's in the brackets. But when solving what's in the brackets, I'm going to do what needs to be done next. So what is the first thing that needs to be done? Do I add first or divide? Divide first. According to BEDMAS, what gets done? I do my division, then I do my addition, then I solve what's in my bracket, then I do my exponent, and then I complete the question. So I do want you to try this question at home. Give me a final answer. Bring it to class with you.